Oh, welcome back to be sorry. Sorry, boys. I had a run in from work.
And
I
boy,
was
are my arms tired.
But we are here now.
welcome home, Keegan. Welcome home.
Don't patronize me.
Oh man.
We would
Well, it
never
sounds
do
like
such a thing.
all of us were outside on like the hottest day of the year yet.
Eh, How, yeah, are you gonna a heat wave over there in Milwaukee?
Oh yeah.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, we've been in the 90s for like 4 days now.
Dude.
Whoa.
Yeah, Sophie and I went hiking on Sunday,
Oh my
and
God.
we were at a lake. So when we were on the beach, it felt fine because we are getting blasted with wind, and so like
Mm.
it was fine. But then when we were like, all right, we did like a 3 mile loop. It wasn't anything crazy. But as soon as we got away from the lake, like the first like mile and some change was along the edge of the lake, and then we had to like go up and around a bluff, and it was just torture the second we started going up.
That
It was
sounds pretty miserable.
it was
Yeah,
just like in the shade, it was just hot.
that's the worst. I don't want to do anything when it's hot. You know what it makes you want to do?
Drink a goddamn bear.
Drink a goddamn ice cold beer. You
I'm
read my
drinking a
mind.
Yeah.
goddamn bear.
Um, yeah, it's the temperatures are too damn high.
I am
Woo!
I am attending a wedding in Arkansas for a cousin of mine in August. So
So
I
you
am
won't you'll be returning as a puddle.
yes. Exactly. Yeah, my dad and I don't fare well in the heat, and an Arkansas summer is pretty brutal.
It's a good
We
thing
may
that
have to bid
Arkansas
you
is
farewell.
I'm gonna say it's a good thing that Arkansas is notoriously known for its cold weather in the summer.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to Mexico in August for work.
Dude,
So,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, you'll have to try some of that Mexican beer.
dude.
I've heard they refer to it as a cerveza.
Did
I
you
think
know
I
Major League Baseball has not only an official beer, but also an official cerveza?
Nice.
See, it is different. I knew it. It was like the third podcast they said it. We've come
And
full circle.
uh,
Do you think they just call Mexican lagers down there?
it's like, what do they call country music in other countries?
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh man.
Well, I need to get into this beer because I'm hot and it's going to be refreshing. I have tomato pie from Other Half Brewing, thanks to Luke, and some free beer. It's a double dry hop pale ale, and it's damn good.
Nice. I got my own beer.
Hey,
Oh
I got I
yeah.
got my own beer.
the Doninator,
Yeah, the Dubrew.
the Do Brew,
I love it.
Cracking this fucker.
Slancha,
All right.
I've mostly because
Sláinte,
I
gents.
need bottles ready for my next
your next batch.
bottling. Yeah.
Luke, you didn't tell us what you have.
I have an empty glass sitting in front of me that once contained water, but it was sweating so much that I'm like, I had better I better get it down quick. Oh, that looks good, Donnie. Holy cow.
Here's a beer.
It doesn't look like you hit the nail on the head the first time out.
No, it's pretty good. I mean,
Oh,
it's
okay.
like generic wheat beer.
Okay.
Um, there's just it's a learning process, It's my first
It
time.
is.
Like this beer is from like this is just from like a recipe kit. Like I don't know what this beer is supposed to taste like. Maybe this is exactly what it's supposed to taste like.
That's very true.
Closet beer.
Yeah, does it taste like laundry? Not the clean ones though.
No, that closet actually used to be where Gandalf pooped.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
yay, cat poop
Even
beer.
better.
Yeah,
Cat poop beer.
we called it the shit closet. But then we just moved. I bought like an armoire that he can like. It's got like a hidden
Poop on
compartment in the
top of
back.
now.
I'm
Yeah, he just.
I'm getting hints of cat litter and mothballs.
Is that
Yeah.
tidy paws?
Uh, there's a couple floaters in here. Some leftover
Yay,
spent yeast.
floaters.
I've got a couple that are like I got 2 bottles that I wrote floaters on the label. They're bad.
I had a couple floaters in the bathroom a little while ago, if you catch my drift.
Did you
Nice.
wipe?
No.
It's no wipe
Am I
Tuesday. That's
supposed to?
perfect.
No.
No. Born to shit, forced to wipe, baby.
It's the best. It's the best.
I forgot
Best.
about that.
That's true. This is what society has turned us into, guys.
Why do we have to
Um,
conform to societal norms?
Almost nothing is more refreshing. Sorry, ladies who listen to this podcast.
They have to wipe
Nothing
too.
is no, no,
Everybody
nothing is
poops,
more
Luke.
refreshing than taking a piss out in the yard.
Oh,
It does. There's just
As
something
God
about
intended.
there's something about an outdoor piss that just gets the juices flowing.
Yeah.
yeah. My dad my dad lives in the woods. Like no one can see him like on his property or anything. And so when he's like out doing stuff in the yard all day, like he'll just like go over into the edges of the woods and stuff and pee. And that way there's just no predators around because they just are like deer and stuff in our yard because they're like, oh, it smells like pee here.
Smells like urine.
Well,
Yeah.
I might be doing it wrong then because I've just been peeing out into Main Street in the village, so I'm not quite.
And you wonder why your windshield got smashed in.
Yeah. Stop flashing the village.
You wonder why a car
was-
burst into flames down the street.
It was a planned strike.
Ay.
Well, we probably at some point should get to our theme of today's episode. Luke, you are. Oh no, Donna, you have your own lawn, I guess, right?
I do have a lawn.
I don't have a lawn. I just
You're
mow
telling me
I mow the concrete jungle with my 2 bare feet is what I do. That's how I
He's
tame.
never worn
I tame
shoes.
my environment, especially in New York City. Why would you wear shoes when you can get highs from needles in the ground?
Yeah, there you
Free
go.
Leave
drugs.
all those extra juices there, that HIV and Hep C, like give it to me.
Drugs are expensive.
So, Donna, do you want to give us a background on or your background on lawnmower beers?
So to me, when I think about a lawnmower beer, I think about a beer that is light, crisp, refreshing. I would say relatively low ABV typically.
Mhm.
Something that you can have a couple of on a hot day and it goes down just about like water. It's not to say it has to taste as watery as something as one of us might say about a Coors or
A Coors
perhaps.
Light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Luke's claiming that he's like, yeah, yep, that's what I said. That's there.
but I will say the thing with Coors is their whole thing is you need this can to be as cold as the fucking Sub-Zero Rockies
Yeah.
to be enjoyed. And you want a cold beer when you're mowing the lawn. For me, I have a push mower, so I don't drink while I drive. I push and then I partake afterwards. I like to save it all up.
So it's more of a lawn mowing beers are more of a recovery thing for you than a in the moment
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
a thing or two about
Interesting.
recovery. Like to me,
Okay.
like if I had a riding mower, I would definitely utilize the cup holder on it. Currently don't have one. Don't really want to be walking around with a pint glass fishing, you know,
You look
blades of
pretty
grass.
badass.
Oh,
Yeah, you would.
I would be so fucking cool.
What you need is like, you know how Luke, you have like that necklace that has a koozie at the end?
Yeah. Yep.
Something like that, but it's like a glass just on a gyroscope. So like it never spills. You bend over to pick up the glass, it just stays up.
Yeah, I drink it out of a straw.
Yeah. Or dude, what are we
The
talking
straw
about?
hat.
Yeah,
The
this
hat.
Beer helmets. What are
Yeah,
we
beer
talking about
helmets.
here?
But that's kind of how I view a lawnmower beer. I don't know if you guys have anything to add or other things that,
So I
qualities that you're
do
looking for.
I do a little bit. So I have a couple small differences in what I would describe as a because I agree with you in saying crisp, light, refreshing. Um, to me, I don't think it has to be fruity. Like I just don't think it has to have that element to it. I've heard arguments from people saying, like I want to have some sort of fruit element to it. I want it to be citrus. I want it to be I need a blue moon, I need something with that sort of tilt to it. I haven't been that way. I am not opposed to a higher ABV, like maybe IPA, even. Although I will say typically when I'm drinking a beer and mowing the lawn, um, it is a
A
lighter
Coors
and
Light.
lower. Yeah. Yeah. No, no, you
You heard
tricked
it.
me into
Clip
it.
that.
No.
Clip that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of key lawn mowing beer. I have a riding mower. So I am a lucky bastard and that I get to drink and drive. And it's a great time, I of course responsibly. Um
On your own property.
on my yeah, on my own property, just zipping down Main Street.
It's just like the water boy, except you're a little all over the place.
Yeah. Um But yeah, no, I agree with the vast majority, I think, of what you say. I'm very much an in the moment drinker though when it comes to mowing.
Well, my opinion on this. Luke, you're wrong. I think fruit is essential to a lawn mowing beer. And the reason I say that, when are you mowing the lawn? Spring, summer, into the fall a little bit. Great fruit seasons. What fruit do you
True.
have coming in the winter? Not much. You're also not mowing the lawn in the winter. I think they coincide very well. I think having some citrusy. I mean, I'll tell you about a couple of my favorites, but like that fruitiness to me is what not makes it a lawnmower beer because I agree it's definitely a lighter beer, something you can drink a lot of. I don't necessarily care about the ABV. Um, when I was in Rochester, we had a riding lawnmower, so I would be drinking and driving. Um, to get to the lawnmower and then not drinking on the
Yeah, it
lawnmower.
Yeah,
was you
right.
stored it down the
Just
street.
just so everybody's
It was
clear,
to
just so
go
everybody's
buy
clear.
the beer. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you drink and drive on the way to get the beer. No, no, no. Don't drink and drive. Always get an Uber. Um,
Justin Timberlake.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Wait, I didn't know that. And then one of my coworkers today was like, Justin Timberlake got arrested. And I was worried for a second because I thought he was a part of the P. Diddy scandal.
Ooh,
And
So
that really broke my heart because I was like,
no Diddy.
my
no, no Diddy, no Diddy.
No Diddy.
my supervisor put it perfectly. You have more money than God. Buy an Uber. Like
Yes. Yeah.
you can afford an Uber.
So, building off of you two, I don't I see I'm more Luke's territory. I don't think the fruit is essential, but I'm not opposed to it. The type of beers that I typically like are usually lagers or paler ales, which tend to have fruit elements within them.
Hmm.
You know, another extension, which I would say is also up there towards a lawnmower beer, is a shandy or a radler. Because again, I think a lot of those fruity beers, especially the fruited lagers, I think, have lower ABV. And I think like to me, I prefer the lower ABV because I'm going for volume at that point, not for exactly like pure effect, you know?
You got to replenish all the fluids you lost pushing the mower.
Exactly.
It's just simple science. That's healthcare 101 is replace the fluids.
You know, and this is another place where I am not opposed to a macro by any means. I
Same.
think that they serve a purpose in this world, um, and that is to hydrate the men and women of America.
I like that. I like
Um,
that. As Gray said, freshman year, hydrate or dihydrate.
it's true.
Love it.
It's true.
Hydrate or dihydrate. It's as simple as that.
Rest in peace, Gray. I don't know
All
if
right,
he's dead
RIP in
or but
peace.
I
No,
figured
He's
he's
I'd
not.
he's
throw
He's
that in
definitely
there.
alive,
he's
but
very much alive, but RIP in peace.
yeah,
Um
Watch. He's gonna find this podcast now and be like, "Those fucking assholes." I wish I was never nice to him.
yeah. But
um
yeah, I don't
oh,
know if you
go
guys
ahead.
have any other styles that stick out in your head of what makes a lawnmower beer. You
So
know,
actually it's funny because in my head there's no one style. I mean, I would avoid stouts and porters uh for the most part in this kind of consideration. But what one of the things I'm going to mention is actually a mix pack of beer, and 3/4 of I would sum up as the perfect lawn mowing beers. Um, I've consumed quite a few over the years while making my rounds, making sure everything in the yard is looking pristine, you know. Uh, and yeah, so I'm not attached necessarily to one specific style. I think I kind of rotate in a pleasant way. What about you, gentlemen?
I mean, I'm I'm gonna paraphrase the U.S. Supreme Court on this one.
Okay.
A lawn mowing beer. There's not really a way to describe it, but you know it when you drink it.
Yeah, that sounds like an official ruling,
It was.
actually.
That's why it's paraphrased. That's why it's paraphrased.
Beer
Um,
versus mower.
yeah, beer versus mower,
I learned
2024.
about that in school. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that though, and I don't keep certain beers in my fridge just because they're lawnmower beers, but I keep certain beers in my fridge around this type of year, like certain types of beer in my fridge around this type of year.
Yeah,
And so it's a
it's
matter of I get in from mowing the lawn and I say, God damn, what am I putting in that shower beer holder while I hose the grass off my lawn?
Well, it's like my dad and I always call it window shopping. So we'll go inside the house. We'll go window shopping. We'll open the fridge, grab whatever's refreshing, go out into the yard, and actually it's funny because nowadays, um, NAs, which I'm gonna have to rely a lot more on, are perfect for. I mean, mostly because there's zero alcohol, so it's about as light a beer as you can get. Um,
Coors
so
still exists.
yeah. But yeah. Ideal temperature. What are we looking at? Are we starting like ice cold? It's got to be sweating a ton.
if you're not, I mean, I was gonna make a rash statement, and I think I'm gonna retract that before I say it.
No, I'd like to hear
My
it.
All right, here we go. If you're not drinking an ice cold beer while you're outside mowing the lawn, what are you doing? Like there, to me, I want to feel like, so I'm mowing the lawn. Like even though I'm riding, I sent you guys this earlier. I'm fat. It's hot out. I'm going to sweat. My beer better be sweating as much as I am. That's my thought process because it feels like a shower in a can,
All right, that's fair.
right? It's
Yeah.
refreshing enough. It cools you down. It really lowers that core temperature. You can, go in the other way if you really needed to lower the core temperature.
And
Um,
I do want to point out too,
yeah.
I think thus far in the podcast we've kind of been ride heavy. Okay. I
Mm.
think and I would like to say too, because I do a mix of both on the property that I'm on now. Um, I have a great amount of respect for push mowers. Okay. And I will say it's difficult if you don't have one of those self-propelling mower or like push mowers. Um, but it is possible to do a one-handed mow, one-handed sip, you
I
know?
I'm gonna have to try it next time because I mine isn't self-propelling. I don't again, it's my landlord's. So she said, "All right, I've got a lawnmower. I split duties with the people upstairs. We always, we alternate between who mows the lawn. I enjoy mowing the lawn, so I'm not opposed to doing it at any point in time. But you're exactly right, Luke. It's not the logistics is hard. And especially my yard is very oddly shaped between just like I live in the middle of a city on top of like there's just weird walkways and stuff around like and it's kind of on a hill and we've got like a fire pit out back. Like there's a lot of stuff to maneuver around that a riding mower really couldn't get through
Sure.
I mean,
easily.
let's be honest. Push lawnmowers and those that push them, they're the foundation of America.
I don't think anyone
What it
in
comes
my
down to.
neighborhood owns a riding lawnmower. Like no one has a yard big enough to justify it.
Because Donnie, look where you live. You live in the heartland. When you think an American You think of goddamn Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
You think of Packer fans just drowning
Just
themselves in cholesterol.
Yeah,
yes,
braving the
yes,
elements.
yes. That's
Mm,
America.
No,
I
but
think.
I'm
I
glad we
think
can give different perspectives on the lawn mowing scene because I've lived with riding mowers in the past. You know, my dad's got a 0 degree
those
lawnmower
things are
now.
so sick. I want to drive
Dude,
one
it's
so
Those
badly.
crazy.
zero turns or whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Can we hold on? Let's also. I think we've talked about this before on here. When was the age that you first started to appreciate a nicely manicured lawn? Because
Oh,
I think that's very important as to when you become not even an adult, like uh, uh we'll say an adult. We'll say an adult. I think that's when you become an adult. Is when you appreciate a well manicured lawn.
our house at Bailey Road.
That was the first time that you appreciated a
That was
manicured lawn.
no, it was the first time that I think I was able to put my pride behind it because whenever I had to mow when I was working for the grounds department at RIT is I was like thrown over there. I had to get it done quick, whatever. I didn't get to take pride in it. When we were renting that house and I had to get out there and do row after row after row, and it was a decent sized lot that we were
Yeah, we
on,
had
just
some good
flat.
space. Yeah,
Yeah. It was that's when I could take pride in it.
yeah.
I would
Donnie,
say,
how about you?
yeah, like I would say I started to notice the lawns when I was like maybe 17, 18, like as I started leaving the New Hampshire area for I will say more concrete pastures. Um, and then I
More
Rochester is
concrete play.
commonly known as the concrete jungle outside of New York City.
well, it's way more of a city than I'd ever lived in my life,
I gotcha.
You
Yeah,
have to realize.
yeah, for sure.
Um, but I would like I agree with you, Luke. It's not until I was like I would say probably around that same age. I didn't have my own lawn at the time, but like I appreciated going home and seeing what my dad would do and stuff like that, and just he's tried to grow grass for so long. He spent a really long time growing grass well, and he's really proud of it, and I'm happy that he gets to put his work behind it.
I love that. I love that.
See, people think that us macho men, okay, who are mowing the lawn, manicuring our lawns, don't have a heart. There's a story behind each
That
lawn.
is our heart.
That is
That
our heart.
grass that you're seeing, we just opened up and poured out into that lawn. One of
Others
my
have
favorite,
families,
yeah,
most have
exactly.
lawns.
Most have lawns. Um, no, honestly, like I feel like not having a lawn, I've grown to appreciate a nicely manicured lawn. Like I'll go upstate or I'll go home or wherever. Um, and I'll like see like a really nicely trimmed lawn, like nice landscaping around, and I'm like, shit, that looks good. And it's just like I feel like it's just a switch. You start to, I mean, it's like when you hit puberty, it's a switch. It just goes. Your voice drops, and then all of a sudden you like lawns.
Oh, I have just the best time doing the lawn here and the landscaping on the property I'm on now because it backs up to a creek. There's like a lower yard that backs up to the creek, Oweka Creek, and then there's the upper yard which I keep like completely mowed. So the lower yard I used to keep mowed, but we weren't able to really justify mowing that much space for how little of the yard we used, which was, our garden and fire pit and compost bins.
Mhm.
So what I've ended up doing at this point is cutting trails into it and leaving the longer grass and wildflowers and stuff going. Although there's not too many wildflowers right now, but leaving it for the pollinators. So not only, okay, am I having an absolute blast, okay, keeping up with the lawn, but I also get to help nature out like a fucking hippie.
At the end of the day, aren't we all just fucking hippies?
Yeah.
No, that's nice. I mean, I totally agree. It's like my lawn's not very big. It takes me 40 minutes to mow, but that's still 40 minutes out of my day.
It is.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's like I get home, I change from work, I get to mowing the lawn, and then by the time I'm done, I'm like, well, I gotta start making dinner.
Oh, should we start talking about some specific
We probably
beers?
should we probably should talk about beer. Is this a lawn mowing podcast or is this a beer podcast?
I'm
Well,
thinking we
today
just
it's both.
I was thinking we do the beers after our break.
After the break. So right
Okay,
now we're just
that sounds
appreciating
good.
lawns.
No, I mean, like, I know Luke doesn't have any stories. Like, do you have any beer stories from
I
the
actually
past
do.
week?
I have a really good lawn mowing story that doesn't involve beer. So I'm
No.
really making this a lawn mowing story. So Caitlin's brother, Ryan, who Luke you've met, Donnie you might have met.
No, I
Maybe.
met James.
You met
No,
James. You met James. Yeah, you
Right?
did.
James, the
Yeah.
older one?
yeah, you
Caitlin's
did
yeah.
meet
Yep.
James. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I met James.
So, as I think none of you except for Luke that are listening know Ryan, he is very much in his own world a lot of the time. We like to say that and he likes to say it too. He's just vibing.
Yeah.
And
He looks like
so
a guy that's just vibing.
he is a viber. He's a vibe guy. And so Mr. Wynn, my future father-in-law, asked him to mow the lawn one day, and this was like high school. Like this is not like a 12-year-old getting on a riding lawnmower and riding the lawn and messing it up. No, this is Ryan Wynn, and he has his head and all he's doing. So he's cooking on that riding lawnmower. But you know how when you're doing a lawn, obviously you want the line straight.
Yeah.
This man was sober as a gopher and did not have a single straight line because what he's doing, he's got the music bumping. He's just kind of looking around, like mowing his lawn at the same time. And Mr. Wynn walks out. He goes, Ryan, what the fuck did you do? He goes, oh, what do you mean? There you have it. Music.
Speaking of operating a vehicle in a straight line, this also involves the winds. I specifically remember, and
Don't you dare.
this was before you were dating Caitlin.
Okay.
We were at your future in-laws' house. We were you were driving. I was in the
This
passenger
is not
seat.
a lawnmower story.
I know it isn't, but it's
This
the
is
perfect.
bullshit. No,
Okay,
this is
I had my window rolled down. We're Keegan is backing out of their long driveway, and it kind of goes at an angle to get up to
it
their
turns.
house.
It turns.
Okay, and the whole family is waving at us. Okay, they're all watching. Keegan, and it ends great, obviously, because Keegan is going to marry this broad. Okay, but he
This broad. I love that. I love that.
Please show Caitlin this part of the
I
podcast.
will. I'll make
So,
sure.
I'm calling her
so
a broad
Keegan's
from now
backing
on.
up, backs up into, like, while he's waving into the forsythia bush that was on the side. So sticks are coming into the car, and the whole Wynn family is just like, they're like slowly lowering their arms, like, watching the terror ensue.
They're like, this kid is so stupid because their driveway turned. So I was like,
There's a wheel to
overturning.
turn with, right?
I was overturning is the issue. Bushes on the right side, driveway goes left. So I overcut it, and all you hear is just like branch. Oh, this doesn't make a great sound. I was trying to make a scratching sound, it didn't work. It's just branches scraping up the side of my car, and I was like, yeah. And I think that's bullshit that was brought up. I would like that stricken from the record.
Hey,
Will
we've
not
shared
be.
enough stories on here. Everybody knows those embarrassing stories of ours.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
as long
That's
as we
fair.
don't talk about when I sharded.
Oh, oh, come on.
You just brought that on
You
yourself,
just-
though.
I
You
know.
brought-
I
Okay,
know.
all right. Someone roll the tape. Someone roll the tape.
No, it's pretty basic. I mean, like, it was over the summer in Rochester. Luke, Caitlin was back in town.
That
For
broad.
Yeah, that crazy
broad.
broad. And you guys decided to surprise her by inviting me to dinner with you guys. And I had eaten something bad that day, man. And I was getting like, I was sitting on the edge of I was on the outside edge of the booth, and I was just like, I was kind of like ripping the silent farts out into the ether. And then when I got home,
Hold on, that was an
yeah,
unreal description.
it was like they
Oh
were just
my
constant.
God.
I couldn't just like go away and get them out for a bit. Like it was like I had known what was going on.
That's unreal. I was ripping silent farts into the
Yeah,
ether.
let's say a quick and profound apology to the people of Flaherty's in Honeoye Falls.
Yeah. Um, but anyway, I got home and I just texted you guys like I got home and I finally went to the bathroom and I was like, guys, I sharted. And yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Don't know
Holy
when, don't know
shit.
how,
But it
but it
happened.
happened.
it was one of those rips.
Yeah.
One of those ether missiles just shot back at you.
Uh, well, now everyone knows
You pooped your pants.
it was a
Oh,
shard. But I also
I think that's a great place for me to get a
it was
new
a
beer.
wet fart. Okay.
it was. They were wet.
There are
But yeah,
classifications, all right? Entire areas of study. I should know. I'm a soft science major.
and I'm a soft stool haver. Welcome back to Beer There, Drunk That. We're in our primes. We're in our limes, and we're going to talk about what our favorite lawnmower beers are.
Sounds fan freaking tastic. I am so
I'm,
excited.
I
I
mean,
needed a
again,
rhyme.
it was a good effort. I respect the
We'll
effort.
take it. We'll take it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
I,
Who wants to kind of start us off with what they would argue is a pretty fantastic lawn mowing beer?
I really do want to start it off
Let's
because
hear it. Let's hear it.
I'm gonna toss the grenade on the first shot. Genesee Ruby Red Kolsch.
Who could have guessed
Who could have
that would
guessed it?
be on our list?
And to be honest, I apologize if this is taken off of somebody else's list. If you want to substitute the mango peach Kolsch in there, I respect it. I think the Ruby Red is a better lawn mowing beer. I think the mango peach feels a little bit more to me like a vibes beer than a lawn mowing beer. That's my personal opinion.
And I do have to say, I guess as sort of context, I have not had the mango peach while mowing the lawn yet. I haven't had the
Okay.
opportunity to do that with
Okay.
the old goutmanship. Um, yes, but I absolutely agree. That was definitely on my list, but I have enough other stuff to cover that I'm not panicked here.
Wait, you mean you have an excessive amount of beers on a list?
Couple two
Okay,
tree.
I also want to provide some context. I'm not drinking 8 beers while mowing the lawn. This is
Just
over
7.
You're
many
drinking
years and many
12.
summers. Yeah. Okay. All of this is done responsibly, and in the safety of my own grass.
You never would know somebody else's lawn drunk.
In the safety of my community's grass.
There you go. There you go.
Luke gets really drunk and
That's
then
more
starts
like
mowing
it.
people's lawns for free.
For
Does
free. Yeah.
anybody need
It's
to mow their lawn?
it's
I'm
a
just going, our
terrible
yards
business
connect.
model.
That
He
was my
just
garden.
he goes down 4 houses, turns around when he hits a fence, does the next row, and just keeps making long rows.
It's like that snake game where you just have to turn every time you hit a wall.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
bounces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unreal.
No, I'm with you there, Keegan. I think that covers basically everything that we mentioned before.
That's what I mean.
It's light, it's crisp, it's refreshing. It can have fruit if you want it to, but you don't need it.
Agree. Agree. I think I mean, again, I keep alluding to this all-star beers roster that we have. And I think Ruby Red it's a home run hitter in any situation. That's again my opinion. I think it is perfectly crafted though for lawn mowing beer at its essence. What do
What's
you guys
so
got?
interesting to me
Sorry.
is like it is such a staple in some people's lives, like Rochester folks especially. I I wish I would have been able to participate like when they first came out with it. Like, when did it start to really catch fire? That's what I want to know. Was it an immediate thing? Those of you who have a longer drinking memory than I do, or
Yeah,
have
your
been
memory is
partaking a
shit
lot
when you
long.
drink.
No, like have been partaking, I think, longer than us. I do want to know.
What?
Um,
And I think it's part of that testament of it's a good summer beer.
Yes.
And
definitely.
Yeah.
it is appropriate for the weather that it comes out in. Because I think you would be hard pressed to find a situation in the months between, I'll say, late April and like like late September
Hmm.
where it wouldn't be like, you're damn right I'm gonna have one.
Yep. Yep.
Um, I if it's all right with you, I'll throw in one here. A classic one that I really kind of grew up with, and definitely my drinking, like first drinking, um years were kind of formulated by around this one beer. A classic lawn mowing beer that is pretty standard to me, light, served cold and refreshing, is Stroh's. The closest place we can buy it is in Buffalo, and it is worth it. Every time we see our Buffalo family, we'll grab, or almost every time, we'll grab a few 30 racks of Stroh's and just have a great time with it. I love it so much. It is super, super standard, like your run of the mill light beer. Um, but that's exactly what I want when I am mowing the lawn. I mean, to a T.
And
Yeah,
I mean, personally, never had Ciro's.
me neither. I
From
was
what
gonna
I've
say
heard
I'll
it
have to put it on my
described
list.
as, it's just
Really?
like it's just a beer. That you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it knocks it hits singles.
Yeah,
I was
and
gonna
it's
say
got
with
that
baseball.
nostalgia piece for me. And but come on. I'm sure you've had a Stroh's, one or both of you, um, over the years while you've been hanging out drinking with me. Well,
I
I
don't
guess we're drinking enough other stuff that Stroh's is kind of like towards the bottom there, but
usually we're not lacking in
yeah.
alcohol.
No. We
Yeah,
may be slacking in our consumption, but never lacking.
true. True, true. Yeah, but that is that's kind of my first, I guess my first throw out today.
And
I think it's a good toss.
I think you bring a good point of it where it's a very like to you that's a generalist beer that you'll drink whenever, wherever, because it has some amount of like nostalgic factor to you,
Yes.
and I think sometimes a lawnmower beer makes sense as like a this is the first beer my dad handed me when we were mowing lawns.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think to me it's just always been cemented in my head as a lawn mowing beer, and a damn fun one. What you
Oh,
got for us, Donnie?
Donnie, why don't you tell us about yours? Yeah.
I would like to say there's some Wisconsin influence in this.
Okay. Wisconsin.
Leinenkugel Summer Shandy, I
Great
think,
poll.
Fair.
is a perfect lawn mowing beer,
Absolutely.
and I think it's again, it's a singles hitter in this. It's a singles hitter year round around here. It hits doubles and triples in the summer. I think. It's one of those beers I don't think you're ever gonna get. It's never gonna knock it out of the park. Few and far between. But I think it's just a good light beer. It's always refreshing when it's served cold. It
Oh,
gets the job done. And the fruitiness to me helps with yeah, I'm gonna have three more. Like,
And that's I think an important part of why I enjoy the fruitiness. Like to me, I think there's absolutely something to be said for a beer like cartoon character, glass bottle, just the word beer on it. That's what I think of when I think of just like these rock solid beers. To me, what makes it enticing to continue drinking is like, wow, I really enjoyed that beer with a little hint of the fruit, especially in the summer for me, because I don't feel like wheat, just straight up hops, like doesn't always get me excited or always refresh me. I know if
So
I have like a cool crisp like blueberry, I'm refreshed. Sorry, what you say, Luke?
I was gonna say I guess it makes sense to me, right? When you think of like our childhood, it's warm summer day where we might have a popsicle, we might have one of those frozen. What
Ooh,
were those frozen, like really thin ones in the
the pop.
plastic that
The
probably
Yeah,
like,
Otter
yeah, yeah.
Pops or
Yep,
the Freezy
yeah,
Pops? Yeah.
yep.
Breezy Pops. Yep. Like when you think of your classic summer treat, I think there's definitely a fruit element to it. I mean, you're gonna
Maybe that's
snow
yeah.
cones,
What hits
smoothie.
better than a nice, just refreshing fruit salad type of thing on a summer evening or an afternoon during a picnic? Like, it just makes you feel good.
Yeah, this is the point in the podcast that it is very clear there are two fats and one Donnie.
I'm newly fat, guys,
Because
okay?
now
I'm new
we're
fat.
just on food at this point. Like
No,
we're
I
we're
just love
gone off
that.
of beer.
You know, in the evening when you'll have fruit, it's just like fruit. You have that at any point in the day.
I I grew up with like a granola hippie crunchy family, guys. You guys know my family. Like we're very much outdoorsy, like eat a lot of fruits and vegetables people.
That's fair.
But
That's fair. I guess you had to fend for yourself way out there in the great wilderness,
I
and
mean, you were catching your own dinners, right?
yeah, my dad's got frogs in the pond in his backyard.
Nice, nice.
some frog leg. I
So,
don't know why I made you guys southern, but that's where
Frogs.
we're at.
I mean,
You
New
get it.
Hampshire is southern
Us
of
New
note.
Hampshire folk.
You do get the last name Dubois down in like Louisiana because the
That's
French
Ooh,
the
fair.
French,
That's
yeah.
yeah.
fair. The Cajuns.
Yeah.
If I may, I'd like to talk about another beer of mine
No, you
Let's
June.
hear
that oh, very true. It's June. It's June. Um, and it's kind of a I'll say it's a couple of different specific beers, and I think Luke knows where I'm heading with this. Rohrbach and Ellicaville. These
Ah,
like blueberry wheat ales, blueberry blondes, like that region. That I'll tell you, that is my wheelhouse. And I think they are divine in the summer. So they might be a little bit too fruity for someone who's not necessarily I'll say a fruit enjoyer in beer, or if you're looking for a solid beer. But because they come out like punch you in the mouth with that blueberry flavor, I think about like I just goodness. Like it just makes you feel good inside, like you're eating fresh fruit.
In the
Even though
evenings.
you're just drinking beer in the evening, in the
like a
evenings.
crazy person,
Yeah.
like a non-fat, like you're fat free.
And as we say here,
No,
being fat is not bad. We are not fat phobic. Every body is a different body.
that was
Some of us have
beautiful.
more body than others.
Exactly. So like some beers. Some
Yeah,
beers are more well bodied
yay.
than others.
Some
There we
beers have more
go.
body. Yeah, so I
Um,
think I think blueberry is a very strong contender for me because I like a nice like I mean I think about again we talked about fruit salads, watermelon, blueberries, things like that, grapes, and like a fruit salad. Damn good. You put any of those flavors in a beer except for maybe grape, and I think I'll probably drink it during the summer.
I will say about blueberry ales, it's like I feel like kind of a palatable beer for folks who even for those who don't necessarily like a wide variety of beer. I just know that I'll be sitting at the bar at Tracy B's, and typically if a person doesn't know what they want and they're not that adventurous with their beer, this is also by no means a knock because I love those blueberry ales. You do, Keegan, more than most people I know.
I have a
But it
sign
is
hanging up for
definitely
my
one of
apartment.
those like one of those beers or beer flavors that is I think a pretty safe bet for people and kind of a bridge at times too.
Yeah,
Totally.
I
I
think
mean,
I agree. I think it's
that's
safe.
like I've mentioned on like we talk about, I wasn't always a super big beer guy, and I think that's one of those flavors that got me to like it more.
I don't know. I mean, What else you got? We'll move on.
Well, okay, so I've got if it's all right with you guys, I'll go second again here.
No, I
I've
want
got
Donnie to go.
a what I think is the ideal lawn mowing beer variety pack, not just
Okay.
one. Okay.
That's a big
Um,
recommendation. That's
it is
impressive.
it is I will live and die by this recommendation. It is the Great Lakes Brewing Company variety pack.
Hmm.
It is their Dortmunder Gold Lager, their Elliott Ness Amber Lager, their Commodore Perry IPA, and then this one I wouldn't count as a lawn mowing beer, but still a definite hit is their Edmund Fitzgerald Porter.
Oh,
The first three I absolutely love and will actively rely on for when I'm out doing yard work. It's an easy pick for me. They're all pretty light. Um, very inviting in their hops, especially Commodore Perry IPA. That is probably one of my favorite IPAs. Um, in the summer months here, but yeah, that is my big suggestion. Go out, grab a 12 pack, cover a couple of lawn mowings,
Or just
uh,
one.
or one if you're crazy.
their beers are they make good beers, man. Like Great Lakes. Would love to get out to that part of the country and stop by the tap room. I know they've got a couple. But
Same,
they
absolutely.
you know they make a lot of good stuff that's good for this time of year. Like a Dortmunder export is like sneaky one of my favorite types of beer. Like an export beer like that. Just for something to me, that is like quintessential, like platonic ideal of what a beer should taste like. You
So
know?
platonic ideal. Is there a romantic ideal of what beer should taste like for you?
If you were going to date a beer, you'd
Yeah, if
date
you were gonna date a beer, what beer style
Dortmunder.
would you date?
I mean, romantic, like I was trying to pause for effect and you guys took it over, but I
Oh,
was gonna say, I was
Luke,
gonna,
you
to
asshole.
be fair, half the time one of us freezes on our screen. So
yeah, it would be Moat Brewing Company Czech Pilsner. That is a beer I have romantic feelings for. It's not on my lawnmower beers. I think it's a little too much for a lawn mowing beer, but it's just roasty. It's lighter. It's got a full body to it. It is just a good beer.
It's a beer you're gonna take home to mom and dad.
Yeah.
I like that. It's
love
very
it.
wholesome. Very wholesome.
Yeah.
Donna, you got any other beers that you would recommend for that lawn mowing beer?
It's another Wisconsin beer. It's Miller Lite, man.
Okay, we're staying local.
A
Miller.
a
Okay.
Wow.
crisp light Pilsner. You know, you guys know I lean towards the Pilsner. It just says a fine Pilsner beer on the can, but I think that is beer where it is at its peak when it's cold because it's a
Hmm.
macro light lager.
Hmm.
It is inoffensive. It's not a very dry finish like Miller High Life is, which I love about Miller High Life. Miller High Life is my general preferred of the two, but I think it finishes very smooth. I think it refreshes you. Like if I'm ever in a situation and someone's giving me a beer on a hot day out of a cooler and like there's nothing crazy in there, a Miller Lite will make me feel the most nourished, which is weird to say with a beer, but it quenches that thirst. You don't get dried out from it. It's just a beer. Like you were saying with Stroh's, Luke, it was it just does the job.
I it, I will forever love Miller Lite. It's so my mom when she's going to drink a beer, it is going to be half um Sam Adams Boston Lager and half Miller Lite because of course it is. She's a chemist
That's so
in beer.
interesting.
She likes to mix stuff and that's her like favorite mix. I that is a go-to like if I need something light at a bar because again, I can't find Stroh's around here. Um if I have a go-to at a bar, it's like a hot summer night, man, I'm getting that. Yeah.
And I do think Donna, you said it, but like I feel like macros, a lot of macros are very much made for lawn mowing just because they're very light. Like you don't, I don't know. I think of Labatt. Like I think of,
Yeah.
although
A macro light pilsner, a Labatt Blue Light,
it's just, yeah.
a little bit different taste than a Miller, but it accomplishes the same purpose. I didn't want to just throw the category out there. I wanted to give a specific
No.
example.
I appreciate you
But
doing that, but I think
but it's that type of beer. Like I would lump those two together since, you know, you guys have been lumping beers together since the beginning of this wraparound.
all right, all right.
Um, okay, so I do kind of want to point out because when you think King of the Hill and you think of those four gentlemen, those four refined gentlemen with
Those
class,
Americans.
those Americans, men
Those
who care about their
Americans.
lawns when they're standing in their lawn and they're all holding those beer cans, those aren't craft beers. They're not
That's
drinking
very
a
true.
Rohrbach, they're not drinking an Indeed. They're drinking some sort of macro, okay? Something crushable, something cheap, probably real cheap. Um that's what you do if you're going to stand in your lawn. There not That's not to say at all that craft does not belong in the yard because that's not true. I think in fact I'm going to grab a craft when I'm playing lawn games.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Can jam with a craft beer. Okay, cornhole with a craft beer. Cornhole. Okay, cornhole. I think is
Cornhole with a corn beer.
with yeah.
I feel like there can be a differentiation made there. I think that's a great point, Luke. I I agree. Like I wouldn't ever really consider a macro beer, any of those light beers, for anything other than mowing, unless it's a free beer. Like
Fair.
I think because again, like, I'll go play cornhole at the beach. I'm gonna have a craft beer in hand.
If I'm
Yeah.
packing if I'm packing a cooler, there's going to be very minimal macro beers. If I am, it's because I'm just ripping them out of the fridge and I'm throwing them in there
Right.
because I'm trying to get through with them. That being said, I think I wouldn't say just for mowing. I would say there is a place for the macros in terms of there's no craft beer here. There's some that are better than others. Everyone likes some more than others, and some beer is better than no beer
Okay.
Very true.
Yes, absolutely true.
Very true.
because you
Um,
would when are the times when say you're at like a wedding and they don't have any craft beer there. Don't know who the fuck would do that, but anyway, it's just at like a generic bar with with like Budweiser and Bud Light as the taps and like twisted tea. Would you rather you wouldn't say no, I'm just gonna go thirsty. You'd say, give me the red can.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. And that's honest. That's actually one thing that I'm looking at in some of the wedding venues that we're looking at. I want to know, do you have, I'll say, craft ability? Can you get me some craft beers? Because I got friends who like to drink craft beers. Um,
We'll
and
work
so
on that together.
That's very
believe me,
fair, yeah.
it's a thought. It's a thought.
Um, I'm just trying to think of like other settings where you'll typically have more of those macros, and one of them to me is a graduation party or a uh like fundraiser, something outside in the summer.
Yeah, it's a
I agree.
funded event where it's someone buying just a large amount of things to appease a large group of people.
Hmm. I agree. I mean, although to be fair, I think if you're in Rochester during the summer and you're at like one of those events and you're not buying like cases of at least some Jenny somewhere, you'll have
True.
an uproar. But
Yeah, that's true.
I think again, another thing I think we brought up on here before. I feel like Jenny Light and Jenny Heavy, and I think this is probably not like groundbreaking. I think they fit more in the macro category, whereas the Kolsch's, the mangoes, all of those like weird, interesting, like really special beers pull it into the craft category.
I agree.
So I think
I
Jenny
definitely
walks a
agree.
very fine line that like I just think they walk a really fine line and do it well.
Well, they do such a good job of having I'll say their big 3.5 that are widely distributed. You
Yeah.
know, the Avenue Liquor down the street from me sells 30 packs of Jenny Cream in cans. Back home in New Hampshire, I can get Jenny Heavy and Jenny Light and Jenny Cream. The half I will say is Honey Brown because you
Mm.
can't because
Yeah.
that's a recipe that they bought from someone else.
Dundee, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. And it's like, it's just kind of a classic beer that they said, yeah, we'll keep it around. But they do such a good job of keeping a local feel on on what they call the Genesee specialties, whether that be the 12 horse, the Springbok, you know, the Kolsch's in the summertime, Cran Orange Keller beer, even their Oktoberfest, which even though a lot of places do that, still nice to see. Those are the big ones coming off the top of my head. I don't know if you guys can
12
remember any
horse.
others. I said 12 horse, so that was the first one I said.
Oh.
Good listening skills,
Asshole.
Luke. Good listening
Here I
skills.
am going
Turn on
again.
your ears.
Yep. But anyway, so yeah, it's things like that where I think that's what makes them feel so special in terms of like a play, a macro place. Like to me, it reminds me of how Kugels is around here. Kugels is owned by Miller, but locally they distribute a lot more types of beer than you can get anywhere else.
I know I've told the story on here, but the fact that we were able to find, and my dad ordered it, able to find Jenny Cream Ale in the mountains in Utah was pretty incredible. Just goes to
Exactly.
show you its range.
It's yeah. Yeah. I mean, let me see if I have any others on my list that I think are like earth-shattering
You said you had three, Keegan.
lawnmower beers. I do have three. Trying to decide. Honestly, I just reviewed it like 2 weeks ago. Fucking beer for golf, man.
That's an
Like
outside beer, man.
I
As
want to
it
someone who
try
has
is
that
also
so
had
it
that
bad.
is
beer.
it is an outdoors beer. There's a reason it was a 5.0. That beer, because when you think of those commercials, like I know like Lipton does commercials all the time for like or they don't do it anymore. I feel is Lipton gone? Like is Lipton still a thing?
No, they
I
exist.
think
Okay, because
so.
I feel like I haven't seen commercials in a while, but I feel
Lipton.
like I used to see commercials for him where you see like this guy sweaty, like just finished pushing a lawnmower, and
Is
he
he
grabs a
fat?
cold condensated glass of Lipton iced tea. For me, iced tea beer, light beer, so smooth, super refreshing when it's like ice cold. Like I don't know, I really do think I think it's a groundbreaking lawnmower beer. And yeah, I don't know. I would fight to the death. That's a beer that I have romantic feelings for, Donnie.
Glad
I
you do.
want to try that beer so bad.
I think I
I
have a crush on beer for golf.
I still said like it is crazy. It is easier for you to find that beer than it is for me. Like I don't know where it's distributed around here. I've never seen an off-color brewing beer until I was at the fucking baseball game in
That's
Chicago.
wild. Hey, that's the Big Apple, baby. They call it the Big Beer behind the scenes,
It's true.
just for New
The
York's
big beer.
significant beer distribution network.
And the sheer number of
Smuggling.
transplants.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think New York sums up America well. I think it's a melting pot of beers, of people, of styles of beers, of really anything. And
Sure.
I think that's a great message. I really do.
Mm.
Do you guys have any other beers that you think will knock people's socks off
Oh,
when they're mowing their lawn this
I
summer?
have a random one to throw in,
Let's hear it.
and it's technically not a beer. But Mackenzie's Black Cherry Hard
Oh
Cider.
my God. Here we go.
Yep.
Here we go.
I haven't talked about it in a
Here we
long time.
go.
I haven't
Here we
found
go.
it in a long time. But how many times was I out there mowing the lawn at Bailey Road with the Mackenzie's Black Cherry Hard Cider sitting on that random wooden post sticking up in the yard,
That random wooden post. Yeah.
getting warm, Getting warm with the sun beating down on it. Hot.
Steamy, evaporating.
What is it that show Detroiters where he's like, all right, we'll have another round of beers. The bartender's like, cold or hot? He goes, cold. What? Cold.
There's a bar down the street from my office that says hot beer and cold food.
I love it. I
I-
love it.
No, I mean, I haven't had a Mackenzie's in a hot minute. I do love
black cherry.
black cherry ciders are tend to be my favorite variety. I love a black cherry. I am known to sit out in my yard while reading my Kindle, drinking a 1911 black cherry.
Hey, that's
Ooh.
fair.
You know,
That's
I'll have
fair.
to
Yeah,
see
I
next
mean-
time I go to Total Wine. I think they have Mackenzie's. I might get some.
You should. Highly recommend it. They used to have it on tap at Tully's, the greatest restaurant on
I
planet
was
Earth.
gonna say let's
Yeah.
talk about how often you got a Mackenzie's black cherry at Tully's.
They
While
don't
eating a
have it on
grilled
tap
cheese with
anymore.
3 tenders on the
Wait,
side.
they don't even.
Yeah. Plain ultimate grilled cheese with French fries and no pickle with an added 3 tenders.
Exactly. I could have told you that if you asked me, because I feel like
Yeah.
I ordered it enough, like on takeout or something.
Like
During
Yeah.
Def
COVID,
and,
we would just
Hey,
get,
COVID,
Tully's
we would
ultimate
get
kept that
grilled
Tully's
cheese.
takeout. Yeah.
You know, they
Um,
have fast food Tully's now. It's called Tully's Tenders. Like, legitimately, I passed by one in Oswego. It is a fast food Tully's.
I don't love that.
Let's get to the
I'm
beer,
I
gonna be
do.
boys.
honest.
Let's talk about the
Let's
beverages.
stick to
Yeah,
beer.
wait.
Again, this is the fat people thing, as we're talking about food again.
Yeah.
I love Tully's.
Big boys gotta eat.
Big boys
Big
got it.
boys gotta eat.
Here it goes. But I've got some wild cards coming at you, boys.
Hit
Let's
me.
hear it.
So
Hit me hard.
while I recently mentioned Miller Lite, open your hearts and minds to Busch Light Peach. That is a
Wow.
beer. I brought it over to Sophie's house last year for Thanksgiving, and she took one sip and she looks at me and goes, I wish this didn't say Busch Light because it's so fucking good in this moment. Like it is
There's
just
some sort-
juicy, refreshing, light, good peach flavor, but it's Busch Light.
Yeah, the fact that it says Bush on it, every time I see it in the stores, like my brain goes, no, no,
No,
no.
don't do it. Don't do
No.
it.
No, and so
Not that I don't like Bush, but it's like that's not what I'm going for.
exactly, and that's why I'm like, okay, if it's a Genesee peach, but it was sold in the same factor, you'd think of it differently.
That's the beer of all my friends' stepdads.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I
never.
love that. I love that.
No, but the other ones I do have, it's actually the beer I was just drinking. As I've been sitting here sipping on it more, I think it makes a good case for a lawnmower beer. Sailor's Delight is a blood orange and sea salt lager, 4.7 ABV. And my thoughts on this beer are, it's got the blood orange, it's got the fruity, it's a nice crisp lager, but the sea salt, when you're sweating there, you're sweating out salts. You need those electrolytes, baby.
Oh,
It's
science.
rehydration. That is
Hey,
science.
that's what I'm saying. This could be the Gatorade of beers.
This is
That's why they call it Gatorade.
And that so Indeed does make another beer called Brightside, which is lemon and sea salt. And it's probably the same base beer with just a different fruit in it. And so I think beers like that might be the future of this, guys.
I still have to try a beer with sea salt. I
It's
can only
something
imagine, and I've heard it talked about now. After the first one that I heard you have with sea salt in it, or the first, at least it was the first time you were talking about it, I have paid attention.
sea
I've
salt and
heard
citrus is
about-
good in a beer, man. And I would recommend it.
Man.
And what I will recommend is that we start wrapping this podcast up.
probably a good
And
idea.
I want to
you-
say, what were you
Go
gonna say,
ahead.
Keegan? No, you go.
I was going to give you my question of the week, but if you have something more pressing, I would say go for it.
Speak your mind, Keegan. Speak your mind.
So I know one of my chores growing up occasionally, my dad didn't trust me all the time when I was a teenager, but then we think about middle school, we're going to think about Twilight. So I'm going to go as simple as Team Edward or Team Jacob.
Team
Oh
Edward
my
or Team Jacob.
All right. We're gonna split the sea and see what happens. Team Edward, Team Jacob.
Are you reading those books right now? Is that
Never
where this is
have,
coming
never
from?
will. Haven't seen the movies, won't see the movies. I'm just in the culture of it.
I can't wait to vote for the third option.
Ghost
Ghost Pirates.
Pirates.
Ronnie the Ghost Pirate.
I don't know who puts those third options in there. Someone just does it. I don't know.
That guy's crazy.
Guy's crazy. And this crazy guy is gonna say, I don't have a thought on the top of my head right now, honestly, of what type of beer we should talk about next week. Other than let's just go lagers. Let's keep it broad because I
I
think
love lagers.
Good with
because
me.
obviously we're not gonna dive like directly into a pilsner, but something that's just a lager, it's different. And I'm
It
excited to see
does.
what we talk about.
Let's
So
see it.
we're keeping it broad lagers. Like, or are we avoiding? I know because we did Mexican lagers.
No, it just gotta say lager in the name.
Just gotta say lager it all in there. I like that. I like that. It gives you a lot of freedom, but also points it a little bit.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Freedom. No, my main reason was so that way you could probably find something at whatever craft brewery you drag Caitlin to in Maine this weekend.
Bang. Love
Oh,
it.
good.
You're a smart man.
Good
You really
thinking.
are.
Am
Smart
I
man.
a smart fellow or am I a fart smeller?
You're a fat smeller.